I mean, on live again. Can you believe I'm alive? Let me see, I'm gonna turn this on for better ambiance. I'm sitting at my desk. This is my on-air sign. Let me try to fix my hair a little bit. So I just really wanted to jump on because I was kind of like in a stream of consciousness flow this morning when I jumped on a live. And I was talking about, you know, like, do I hate men? And no, I just don't recommend. And I got into a lot of really good stuff. And basically these videos, this one, the one I did last night, and this one is, the one I did last night, the one I did this morning, and this one is basically a series. It's kind of like just thoughts that I have been having as I go through my process of healing from my trauma, from childhood, from teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. Now I'm 52. So I decided to be single when my baby's daddy and I consciously uncoupled in 2014. I decided that I wanted every single second of my time that I wasn't parenting my children, working to earn a living, eating, sleeping, doing chores, cleaning up. I wanted to focus on learning things I wanted to learn, researching what I wanted to research, going for walks, spending time with my mom, brother, sister, my nieces, nephews, my children. I wanted to focus on my hobbies. And so I made the decision at the time that because I had a lot of emotional, mental healing to do, that, hello, Barrett Johnson, hi. I wanted to focus on myself, and I wanted to make myself a priority. And I had been in a relationship with my baby's daddy, hello, everybody, for 8 years. And it felt to me that other than focusing my time and energy on my children, it felt like he was very self-centered. And oh, hello, Bob the astronomer for the $1. That is so cool. Thank you. So I felt like the entirety of my relationship, me and him were focused on him, and I kind of was like pushed into the back. My issues, my self-growth, I said in the other video yesterday that I was working when I was pregnant and he wasn't. And then I got some weeks of maternity leave. And then, he was like, well, I would feel better if I was working and you were staying at home with the children. And I was like, well, I would like that too. And then he got a job and I ended up staying home with the children. But in those years, see, so many misogynistic men who were raised with this patriarchy, they think that that's the way it's supposed to be, and that somehow that's like, so anyway, the purpose of this video is the idea of why is a woman being single the same as hating a man? And here is a perfect example from Triple Fucking Idiot saying, still talking about how much you hate men. Dang, is it an all-day topic? Because I'm a loser. So why is the idea that a woman would be so empowered and so independent that she can say, my advice is don't date men. My advice is focus on yourself. My advice is don't waste your time. So there's a term coined by, I'm reading over here, Kiki Bryant, known as uppity_negress, or the uppity negress. And she coined this term labor digger, which means a partner who acts as a manager, demanding domestic, emotional, and care labor from their partner while providing minimal labor themselves, exploiting this invisible labor. And I'm adding that, okay, well, let me continue. It's the focus of it highlights that the unfair extraction of domestic and emotional labor, where these men raised in this patriarchal, misogynistic society truly believed, like deep down, that it's a woman's job to act as their maid, their manager, their therapist, their caregiver, to be the primary parent. And the idea that when a woman would say, I am happy being single and I don't need a man. I don't need a man to pay the bills. I don't need him to support me. I don't need him to protect me. I don't need him to carry heavy things or to be the hand. Like, so part of what got me to this place is in my journey of healing from my my baby's daddy breakup and having two babies and being a single mom and having been out of the workforce for 6 years while I was focused on nursing and raising my babies and doing all of the things. And and I found out, like, oh, he wanted me to stay at home. Oh, right, that's what he wanted. And then I fell into that trap of, oh, and along with that comes all of, so my boyfriend at the time, he didn't seem like a misogynistic, patriarchal kind of guy. He seemed like, a decent, good man who believed in equality and would be like, I respect women and blah, 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 blah. But the fact is that he was also raised by a man and a woman who were married, and essentially the man went to work and he paid the bills. She also went to work and paid some bills, but that's just how their family was. She did everything for the children, everything involving the children, the mom did. And the dad really didn't get involved in their lives until they were like high school. And that's just how he was raised. And even though his mother was also working for most of his life, both of his parents were working, both of his parents contributing to the bills, but his mother was the one who did the cooking and the cleaning and the caregiving and the driving to this and that and the other thing and all the social, everything. So I wrote some stuff that I'm going to write. And then so you end up with a man who seems modern and who seems normal and nice, and you would never think that he would end up with these misogynistic beliefs. And then there you are, you're trapped in this relationship and you have the babies. And childcare could be, when you have childcare for 2 children, it's so much money that it's like what happened for me. Even though I was making good money, the fact is that the amount of money that I was making, I did like different budgets, and I figured out that if I continue working and he continues work and he starts to work, and now we need to pay somebody to watch our 20-week-old infant for like 40 hours a week or more, because my job was in the city and I was commuting both ways, there and back, taking the train and the subway and the walking and then the whole day of working and all this stuff. And then you have to buy lunch every day in the city, or you have to buy a lot more groceries and then make your lunch every day, which is time and money and effort. And I mean, yes, of course you're eating lunch even if you're home, but the food that you have to make and bring to lunch, or the food that you buy, it's just a lot more expensive. It's just, so anyway, as I was doing the budget, I was like, almost my entire salary that I'm earning is going to be going towards childcare at this point. And then, and then you end up trapped. You get trapped because you're staying home watching the babies. Like I wanted to, but at the same time, his skills were going up. He didn't have a gap in his resume. He was continuing to work and be in the workforce and growing with the modern technology and everything. And then I, luckily I had a blog and I was learning stuff and I was taking like courses online. And I started making videos. And so because I started to do these like side passion projects, I luckily didn't lose all of my skills, but I still had a big gap on my resume. And then, so what happens to a lot of women is they take out of work for a few years so that they can raise their babies, partially sometimes because they really want to, and sometimes because it's just financially cheaper to do that than it is to pay somebody else to do that. And, some women don't want to lose all of the momentum that they have going in their career, so they do choose that route. And hey, if you do, either way, it's hard. And then being a stay-at-home mom, it's like the demands are endless. And then when you have a partner, it's I mean, again, it's rare. Am I saying that all men suck and in every single man you would never find a good one? No, I'm not saying that. If you care about what I'm saying, you'll hear it and you'll listen. But it seems like there is this expectation that if you are the stay-at-home parent, what a lot of these men who have these belief systems like, well, I'm going to work and getting paid, so when I come home, you still have to do all the work and stuff because you're stayed at home. It's like what they don't understand is like, but if you're working at home and it's like 24/7, you don't get a break. You never get like it just doesn't end. It never ends. And the it's just so fucked up. And the comments again, so my normal habit is ignore, yeet, and delete, where when I see stupid or nasty, rude comments, I would take the time to delete them. But part of this series of videos that I'm doing is allowing these misogynistic fucking scumbag assholes who are losers to show themselves. You're showing your ass. You're showing your shit streaked ass. And so a healthy man, a good man, is going to hear a woman who's saying, I have been, I've been engaged, I've lived with men, I've been single for years, I've been in a serious relationship, had 2 babies, and tried to have like a family. I've been single again, I've dated casually, I've done various things in my life. My advice is coming from my own personal life experience and what has been working for me. I care a lot about helping people who've been severely traumatized and have a lot of trauma, learning how to heal, learning how to love yourself, learning how to value yourself, learning how to be a happy, fulfilled person. And a lot of people are so focused on finding a romantic relationship that they lose out the opportunity and the chance and the time to develop your relationship with yourself. And so many people are so focused on trying to fulfill their empty, voided, unfulfilled feelings with meeting someone else who they think will make them whole, fulfill them, entertain them, bring them pleasure, give them something else to focus on. And, so what I've learned is what's been working for me. And so the reason why I'm making these videos is because I feel like there's a lot of women out there and some men who are attracted to men, who want to have relationships with men. And yet, you're out there, maybe you're internet dating, maybe you're just trying to meet somebody in real life, maybe you have a crush on somebody, maybe you haven't met anybody, maybe, there's somebody who they really like you and you're not that into them, but you're kind of so desperate. So, you want to give it a chance, or, there's somebody that you're not really compatible with, but you're like so afraid to be alone that you're giving them a chance. Maybe you're already married and you're not happy. Maybe you're dating somebody and, you want to get engaged, or you want to move in together, or you want to get married. Or maybe you're with somebody and you're not that happy and you want to cheat on them, or you are cheating on them, or maybe you can't pick between 2 people, or whatever the case is. My advice is, instead of trying to manifest a specific person, or instead of trying to be centered where, you plus somebody else is more important than you plus you, or like trying, maybe there's a lot of like lifestyle choices or living a specific place, or there's a career that you really want to pursue, but you can't if you're with this person because they don't want you to, or because the time won't work out, or you want to work a graveyard shift, but that's not their style, whatever. There's like infinite reasons why when we get attached to somebody in a romantic relationship, we allow them to basically make decisions in our lives that truly we're sacrificing our own happiness. Or you haven't been able to find somebody you're really compatible with, and so you allow yourself to believe that it's your own flaws or lack, and you just wish somebody would like you. But my whole point is that these are the times when it's time to learn how to like yourself. And when you say, I am the specific person that I'm going to manifest, I am the person I'm going to focus on getting to know, getting to like go back into your past and try to understand some of your unseen, unhealed wounds, unresolved traumas that have you thinking that, you should be with someone that you're not really compatible with, that doesn't really see your value. And so part of what I'm learning is that there is a really, really major amount of like super low quality people out there. And the reason why I'm leaving these really scumbag comments up here is because it's just showing anybody who would come to this video, anybody who's kind of like on the fence of like, I really want to find love, but I keep trying and this and that. And I'm suggesting to you, just allow yourself to commit to you. Does it mean that you can never change your mind? No, just like if you commit to a person, you can always decide that you're not compatible and you're going to leave. If you commit to a job, you can always decide that this isn't working for you anymore, or you can, move on. So if you commit to yourself that you're single and you're not open to mingling so that you can focus on you, learn about you, there will be men out here. Hey, I don't think you were nice. Like, look at, if I read some of these comments, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The dating pool is filled with people who say women need to know their place, or you look unhappy, unstable, and frankly unattractive. So this is what I'm saying. Why is being single the same as hating men? Because men are got it. So potentially inappropriate comments are being held for review. Thank you, YouTube. Again, not all, okay? This isn't a blanket statement of every single man on earth. This is lots of them, most of them, huge quantity of them, a big portion of these people who have penises. These kind of people being raised with these patriarchal, misogynistic ideas. And then plus, you have like the whole like youth is everything. And, I choose not to wear makeup. Why? Because when I was a teenager, I just didn't like it. I have incredibly sensitive skin, and I didn't like the way it felt. It was irritating. I didn't enjoy putting it on. I didn't like the way it looked on me. I didn't like the way it felt. And there's a lot of pressure growing up in this society when you're a girl to try to look pretty, to do a lot of things to yourself for the benefit of men. You're supposed to pluck your eyebrows, and you're supposed to put mascara and fake lashes and eyeliner, and you're supposed to cover up all whatever marks on your face, and you're supposed to blend. And I was just like, what? No, thank you. I'm not into this. It looks stupid on me. It's expensive. It feels bad. I don't have time for it. I don't want to. Cleaning it off is annoying. And then you have stupid fucking idiots who literally tell you it's rage bait because a mature, independent woman can say the words, I don't need a man, and you might not either. And I recommend to anyone out there who feels disappointed, disenchanted about love. You realize that you're being sold a fantasy that's just not true. I'm suggesting to you to accept that that is actually, in fact, the truth. And people out here who think it's nature and natural for you to be subversive to them, for you to be basically expected to do. So that's what I was saying earlier, this term labor digger that Kiki Bryant, uppity negress, coined, which is, it's a good phrase that explains these patriarchal, misogynistic men who, you see, you're basically, you are an infant, you are a baby, you're incompetent, you're incapable, you're useless, you are a burden. These men out here are invalids. Maybe they've got their legs and their arms that can move, and they can move their mouth, but they're literally saying, I expect you to be my mommy. I am incapable of doing my basic chores. Every person who's alive, you eat, you shit, you shower, you go poo poo and pee pee, you wear clothing, then you get dirty, you smell, you go poo poo and pee pee, and then you need to wash that. Your feet get sweaty. You need to wash in between your toes. You need to wash out your belly button and your armpits. You got to wash your hair and brush your hair. And then you have dirty clothes that need to be washed and folded and put away. And you have to wash the bathroom. You have to scrub the toilet and the shower and do the dishes and all of these things. You have to go food shopping and cook and stuff. And these grown-ass men out here proudly proclaiming, hey, I am completely useless. I am incapable of doing basic needs. Thank you, Jimbo. And then they're proud of that fact. And then they want to turn around and insult you. They want to insult your looks, insult your body, insult your right to be an independent woman who chooses to not date, to not give men access to you. So when a woman says, I am not open to a man having access to me, in their piddly little brain, they think that you hate them and therefore they can attack you. So, I mean, you're not that attractive, to be fair. So where are the men who are saying, you know what? I hang out with men and I feel the same. How many men have multiple friends, but you don't have anyone who's emotionally supportive to you? You don't have anyone who you could actually share your genuine thoughts and feelings about what you're going through. If you have that, kudos to you, and I'm happy for you. I don't expect you to go out and cut the grass. Why? My mother used to cut the grass when I was growing up. I had a big old 6'4" man, strong ass motherfucking man. And there she was, 5'4" little woman, cutting the grass. Why? Again, because you're misogynistic. Because you think the fact that somebody has a vagina or a penis means what they can or cannot do. What they should or should not do. And you are exactly what I'm talking about. All of these pieces of shit on here, they are proving you're not emotionally intelligent. You're not emotionally available. You don't actually have the comprehension of a grown, mature person. If someone says, the majority of the men that I've met are misogynistic, they have these expectations that a woman is supposed to do all this unpaid labor, and your reaction is, you're not that attractive. Nobody wants you. You're a cat lady. You're a Karen. Okay. And what I'm saying is, to a lot of other women, unfortunately, those comments are what's out there. Men believe that they have this unlimited access to you. Excuse me, there's a hair somewhere that I can't find. And they get so mad that if you have the audacity to say, you know what, I'm not open to a man having access to me, they they verbally abuse you. So I'm going to read this thing I wrote earlier. Why being single is hating a man. In this misogynistic patriarchal society, the idea that a woman would intentionally choose to remain single and to not give men access to her is considered highly threatening behavior to a lot of men. And due to this concept that they are entitled to your unpaid labor, because they believe that housework is a woman's work, that childcare is women's work, that the social management of your birthdays, holidays, celebrations, anniversaries, special days, milestones, et cetera, is a woman's work. The food shopping and cooking and cleaning and doing all the work that you don't want to do. That's not light work. It's physically demanding. It's exhausting. It's so hard. It's constant. It's thankless. It's every day, every night. And yet it's like, oh, I put myself up here on this pedestal and I don't have to do all this hard, crummy grunt work you do, and you have to do it because you're lower, less than me, and I'm better than you, and it's just that's your place. The idea that a woman could actually opt out of that system and say, no, thank you, motherfucker. No, thank you. What makes you think I'm here to debate you? What makes you think that your thoughts have any fucking relevance? Because you're arrogant and you're entitled and you think that you're privileged. You think that you're entitled to my consideration. Thank you, Nate and Bake Realty. Maybe there's 8 people here now, but there's an unlimited amount of people who may eventually see this video. In 6 years from now, maybe 1,000 people will watch it. Maybe 10,000 people will watch it. Maybe there'll be one woman out there who's hurting and feeling sad and hopeless. And she's going to see this video and she's going to say, you know what? I never really thought about it like that. I never really thought about that I could actually opt out of this patriarchal, misogynistic bullshit and live my own life. I could do that. I could actually potentially find happiness by saying, I am not going to give men access to me. And the fact that you would say that, look at how so many men react. And that's you are the perfect living proof of why so many women would rather choose their own peace and their own joy and to be their own boss and to make all of their own money and own decisions. And I think a good man, a truly not misogynistic man, that would be actually the kind of woman who would be the highest quality woman to be interested in, and obviously when she says no, I'm not interested, I'm not saying that's who you should go for, but I'm saying someone who is living their life to the fullest, independently, being a parent, if they happen to be a parent, you see, and that it's like, we're literally bombing innocent people, just killed 170 little innocent children. The man in the White House is a rapist, felon. They're destroying everything, and they still think that they should be in charge. So they feel entitled to this unpaid labor that they don't have to contribute to, and they believe that because they go to work and pay some bills, that that's all they're really supposed to do. And then then they get to slap the term provider and protector on their crusty asses that they don't even know how to take care of. And it's like, those people are such fucking losers. Excuse me. If you want to date, you're jumping in the ocean filled with piranha. These men are losers. These men want to be able to control your body. They want to take your vote away. They want to be able to silence you. They want to be able, imagine commenting on somebody's video that you're watching and commenting on for the past 10 or 15 minutes and saying, imagine talking to yourself. Imagine being so ignorant that you don't understand the concept of a YouTube platform that is being broadcast out to whoever's watching live now and whoever can come back on the live stream. Imagine not understanding the concept of a video that you record live at the time and then continues to exist on the platform that you put it on and can be watched by hundreds and thousands of people over the next hour or the next 15 years. Imagine being so full of yourself and such a misogynistic pig that you actually think that women owe you anything, and that when a woman is like, you know what, you can live a life really happy without a man. Now, if you're a very sexual person and you just feel like, oh God, I need the dick, I mean, go do what you got to do. And if you're lucky enough to find a good man so the problem is that there are so many women out here who, I'm very introverted and I'm very self-sufficient. And there's so many things that I really, truly love doing. Like, I have so many hobbies and interests that I don't need a man. I don't have a lot of like time in my day where I'm sitting around lonely, wishing and longing for that, and when I kind of feel like, oh, I want to feel a little romantic, I can watch a cute little movie and enjoy the feeling of the idea of romance, and then go back to my life. Because the fact is that the majority of relationships, yeah, there's probably a few relationships out there that exist where both people are truly happy and they're truly fulfilled, and they're both decent, good people, and they have like equal distribution of labor and work, and and like the ideal situation. Of course, I'm sure that it exists, and I'm more sure that the majority of relationships out there are actually where people are deeply unsatisfied. They're not compatible. Most of these relationships, women are doing an incredibly imbalanced amount of work. And while it's true, like, as this, I have 2 children at home and I have to cook and clean and do all this stuff, but there's not another big ass grown up. Like, it's already enough with me and the 2 kids, and I'm training them and showing them every single day how to learn how to be self-sufficient men who have no expectation that anybody's gonna swoop in and be their mommy. And you just keep on leaving your ignorant, rude, disgusting comments. Like, the thing is, like, you see these men making these comments and you see how they're all personally offended. Why? Because they're misogynistic assholes. If they were a decent, good man, then they would say, you know what, I've seen misogyny at work because women are getting paid 70 cents to the dollar. I've seen misogyny in the medical field. I've seen it in sports. I've seen it in the school system. I've seen it in the corporate world. If you were honest, so it's like white people who pretend like they don't recognize what white privilege is, and because you're only getting the benefits of this system that's deeply harmful to so many people, you pretend like you don't see the harm because you're benefiting from it. So you would rather just continue benefiting from it and pretending like somehow you're not contributing to it. And it's the same with misogyny and this patriarchal system where men are benefiting from it, so they can pretend that they don't know about it and they don't believe in it and they don't see it, and they can twist everything so that, they're trying to gaslight you so that, again, so they can get this unpaid labor from you. And whether it's, remembering special dates and planning, like I said in the last video, you can go back and listen. I don't need to repeat all of that, but I'm going to read a little bit more of what I wrote. They feel entitled to the unpaid labor, and that, they see taking care of their own children as babysitting. They think if they're doing chores around the house, they're helping you. They make these grandiose statements that prove their narcissistic inability to be a contributing partner that would make sense to be with. You see, these men that have these primitive, archaic, and deeply harmful belief systems, they think that they're entitled to access to you. And when you have the audacity to express the fact that you're independent and that you don't believe in that bullshit, they spew the biggest nonsense that, you could ever imagine. And then they try to, like, they tell you that you're ugly, they tell you that you're fat. They're like, it's like dating this narcissistic guy, and then when you recognize his toxicity and his abuse, he wants to turn around and be like, you know, well, I only dated you for charity, or, nobody else would love you. You're nothing without me. I'm like, these are like classic narcissistic terms that these type of people say. They try to make you believe that somehow you're nothing without them, even though you're the one who's literally doing everything. Again, they're proudly proclaiming, I am incapable of taking care of my own basic needs. I am incapable of feeding myself and cooking and cleaning up after myself. I'm incapable of doing, the work that a human generates just by simply being alive. And you're proud of that fact. And the other thing that I was trying to get at is, like, women have this fantastical, like, with books and movies and songs and all of the TV shows, and like this concept of like romantic love and unconditional love, and this idea of marriage, and like marriage is some kind of goal. And again, the misogynistic patriarchal thing where you're supposed to give up your name and take on his identity, and then you become Mrs. Loser Man, and your name doesn't even necessarily matter. And look at that rapist. Look, no Sam 211, you're a rapist. You just let everybody on here know that you are a rapist. And it's sickening. And I highly recommend not dating. I highly recommend focusing every second of your time and your energy and your emotion on yourself, on your friends, on your children, on your own hobbies, on your own development. Instead of going out on a date, going to some movie with some guy, go take a class. Go invest in your own future. Go learn something that you've always wanted to know. Or stay at home and sew a blanket. Or call your sister. There's so many things that we can do in our lives so we can genuinely invest in relationships that are probably going to be the relationships that are there forever. These are now, not everybody speaks to their mom or their sister or their brother or whatever, but I'm talking about the people who you do talk to. Spend more time being proud that you focus on you. When you stop drinking the Kool-Aid of this idea, of this romantic love idea, and you start to look at it not through this patriarchal idea of like, you get married and then he carries you through the door and you take his name, and then what? And then you end up being all of the, you work so hard and they don't even appreciate it. They expect it of you. They demand it of you. They literally tell you that's what your job is. You're a vessel. You're just there for me to fucking ejaculate into you. You're a cum bucket, basically. So a fucking archaic, like non-emotional intelligent person, you're like, again, you're probably not that interesting. You're probably not that intellectual. You probably can't have a really deep, interesting conversation about the past, the present, or the future. You probably aren't that creative or artistic. You're probably not that attractive. And even a lot of these men who are like really ripped and stuff, you look disgusting. You're probably a MAGA, or again, so many of these men, it's like, why would, it's like, ew, you're just so gross. Like, ew, David, you're so nasty. You have a rape mentality. You think that you are entitled to so much, and you give so little. That's why I'm saying you are a burden. These women are out here cooking and cleaning, doing the food shopping, doing everything for these men, just so that, for what? It's just like, ugh, the whole idea of like making a man happy, it's just like, I want to vomit. There's so much time in the world, in your life, to do so much stuff. And when you stop being focused on trying to meet a man, trying to make a man happy, trying to fit in with a man, trying to groom yourself and do all the things to make him happy, and you realize, I am so free. I don't have to do any of that. See, the beauty about this concept is that if and when you truly decide to be focused all on yourself, and you make yourself your best self, the best version of you, if there is truly like this unicorn person out there who's going to be the best version of you, like I said in yesterday's video, you don't attract what you want or fantasize about or dream of. You attract what you are. So when you are falling for the Kool-Aid of like patriarchal men, that's what you're going to attract. And then you end up in these really awful situations. And it is true that a lot of men are very dangerous, and they have these incredibly narcissistic, misogynistic ways of thinking, and you are in danger when you're with them because they feel entitled to you. And they think that there's something wrong with you when you don't believe in the fucking patriarchal bullshit. But then you're in danger if you give them access to you. And again, just the idea that a woman would say, I am living my life for me and my kids, and I'm not going to give a man access to me. Men who would never have access to you anyway and don't even want access to you anyway are still threatened and are threatening. They say threatening comments. They are verbally abusive. They, try to destroy you. They don't want you to have self-esteem. They want you to think badly of yourself because you simply say, I am empowered to be free to do whatever I want. If I was a man and I was giving advice that, if you want to be happy and you want to heal from your trauma and you want to be successful financially and you want to be a good parent, focus on yourself. Don't worry about dating. Don't worry about going out there and trying to make a woman happy. And, don't worry about this stuff. The same losers would be on here like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Fuck those bitches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but when you realize that all of that is just this horrible game that unfortunately does have a lot of control over our lives and our politics and stuff, but you still don't have to drink the Kool-Aid of that belief system. It's so freeing. It's so freeing to realize that, it's like the criminal who's getting away with it and is benefiting from stealing from you, trying to convince that person that, I don't know, maybe that's just not a good analogy, but it's unfortunate that more men don't stand up and say, We don't like rape. We don't like women getting paid less than a man. We are fully capable. I can clean up and cook and do this. And does that mean that there's no man that ever says that? Of course not. Like I've said a bunch of times, there are some men out there, but trying to find them. So when you focus completely on you, what will end up happening is that, first of all, a lot of men who are deeply misogynistic, they're not attracted to really independent women. And you can you can basically sense them much easier. And so, one second. So the longer you go without dating and without drinking the Kool-Aid of this misogynistic, you know, worldview, the easier it is to spot these kind of men. And I was looking at my other computer. I was looking at my computer on the other side of my phone. I wasn't staring into space, so. But you see, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you put yourself into this dating pool and you're swimming around with the piranha of all of these misogynistic men, it's going to be really hard not to let your self-esteem get impacted because they're rude, they are disrespectful, they feel entitled to your body, they feel entitled for that you should serve them. I saw a post this woman put out. She has like 3 PhDs and she'd written some books and did some, like a bunch of stuff. So she's on the date and she's talking about, you know, he's asking her about her, like, what do you do? And blah, 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 blah. So she's telling him and he's like, yeah, but can you cook this though? And it's just it's like when a man knows how accomplished you are, he tries to intimidate you and make you feel bad about yourself because you're supposed to be, you know, a laborer. So why give them access? Why? So isn't it interesting that when you choose to be single and you make that your lifestyle and your choice, and you're not in a relationship, these losers will use that as like, oh, you're a failure. So because I'm actively choosing to not date anybody, again, why is not dating hating men? Because a man who sees you not dating, all he can perceive is that somehow there's something wrong with you. Instead of realizing dating men is a job. It is a burden. It's, oh my God, it's just like the list of how much stuff that you have to do as a woman to be with a man. It's just not worth it. It's simply not worth it. And I think that more and more women are recognizing that in this day and age. And so the purpose of this video is to help other women who are kind of contemplating it, or maybe you've chosen to be single and you just want to connect with another woman who sees you. I see you. I see you, girlfriend. I'm out here. We are living our best lives. We are proud. We are independent and strong. And we just stopped believing in the nonsense, and then so many of those pieces of shit, they just start to fall away like noise in the background, you know. It's just rude comments that they don't even affect you. In fact, those type of comments are empowering. It's empowering to keep you from putting yourself in harm's way. And, you know, would I ever, if I, like, I'm not saying that I would never in a million years like give the man the time of day, but it's just unfortunate that the way that our society has been, the majority of men out there are just not being raised to be worth your time and your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like they it's just sad. It's sad that there's so many men out there that think somehow raging and being misogynistic and insulting a woman, trying to break somebody down, and instead of having the understanding. That's what I'm saying. Like are there good men out there? There are some men out there who talk proudly about how they support women, and they're actively doing that, and there are some champions out there, but it's just unfortunate how rare they are, and how more men aren't willing to step up and say, we should be supporting our sisters, our mothers, our friends, our coworkers. We should want the best for them. You should want to learn how to be a good listener, how to actually do your fair share at home, how to like, if you were really a good man, you would want to unlearn. You would be curious. You would be asking questions. You would be doing research. You would be observing with your own eyes. You wouldn't be contributing to harming women. You wouldn't want to get on somebody's live stream who's saying, I am independent and I am healing and thriving and living, and this is my journey, this is my experience, which is that when you focus your time and your energy on trying to find love or trying to make some guy happy, you're using a lot of time and energy that you could be focused on you. And you may actually find yourself much more fulfilled, much more successful of a person, much more of a developed person, if you stop believing in this myth of romantic love. And again, another thing that I wanted to talk about is that unconditional love is another myth that is basically the calling card of an abuser. Yeah, the man lives longer because he's got somebody doing all the work for him, and the woman fucking ends up, my God. I've thought about it too, like at my age. Like, I'm not trying to be nobody's nurse. I'm not trying to get involved with no man and then end up having to fucking... And I have asked myself, like, what do I even need a man for? If it's to carry heavy packages or put together a cabinet or something, I can pay somebody to do that. I don't need a man up in my house living here and like all of the stuff. Like, ugh, it's just so not worth it. It's like, I can go to the movies and go to dinner. I can go dancing. I can, like, anything that you really want to do, you don't actually need a man to do. And the demands that most men will put on you, like I said, being in a relationship with a man is almost always a job. I don't want it. A lot of us women are opting out of this job and recognizing the bullshit. Yeah, that's why I'm by myself, because life is hard and life is busy, and working takes a lot of time, and raising kids takes a lot of time, and doing all the chores that I already have takes a lot of time, and I want every single minute of my time not doing that to do what I want to do, to not have to try to make somebody else happy, to not have to worry about what he's got going on in his life, and his stress and his mood and his this and that, his tastes and his expectations and all of these things. And men are threatened and angry when a woman that they wouldn't even date in the first place has the audacity to say, I'm just so much happier without being man-centered. I'm so much freer in my life being focused on myself and my children. And I highly recommend it. I highly recommend not worrying about dating a man. And so this guy's saying, I don't sound happy. You see, there you go. You don't sound happy because, why? Because I'm saying I don't need a man in my life? Again, back to the title of this. Why being single is hating a man? Because the idea, because men and a lot of women would perceive, you must be so miserable, you must be so lonely because you choose not to try to be in a romantic relationship. And it's pretty sad and kind of pathetic that the only option for a joyful life you think is to be attached to a man? So a man determines my happiness? Whether or not I have a man in my life is the measure of whether I'm happy or fulfilled or lonely? Did you know that most women who are married are actually a lot lonelier than a single woman? Because you have this expectation that you're supposed to have, a best friend, emotional support, some emotional intelligence, some engaging, interesting conversation, some intellectually stimulating conversation. And most of these women do not have that in their man. Most of those women don't actually get that fulfillment. And when you're married to a man, it's a lot harder sometimes to just go out and do what you want with your friends whenever, or just focus all your time and energy on yourself. And because why? Because you have a man there who expects you to be doing all this stuff for him and for the family and for the house and the ba. So when a woman says, you know what, I don't need that man in my life, you don't have to feel bad that you're not focused on him when you're doing the things that fulfill you. And my God, it is so freeing. And more women in 2026 are truly coming away from the dark side of this fantasy idea of love. And one moment, please. And so back to the lie of unconditional love. Unconditional love is this idea that you would love somebody, that somebody ought to love you no matter what, unconditionally, that there's no condition. Why are you worried about my coochie? Is that because you're a rapist? You think a woman's only value is her vagina? Unconditional love is a lie that is created for people who are abusers and neglectors to be able to continue to have access to you. Some people are like, well, I can love you from a distance. Well, that's a condition. So if somebody harms you, so love is a verb. Love is not just like this ethereal emotion. Love is action. You can have your feelings, but if all your love is feelings, then it's really just about you. It's just a selfish feeling. Love is a verb. Love is an action of how you behave. It's an investment. It's a commitment. It's showing up. It's connecting. And so if you've harmed me, if you've abused me, if you treat me poorly, then you won't have access to me. So there should be conditions in healthy relationships where you have boundaries and standards and values and expectations of so you can't control how somebody's going to treat you, but you can control what you accept and allow into your life. So, great for you. That's great for you. I wonder if your wife would say the same. From your perspective, you think it's 50-50. I wonder what she would say. And again, if you really truly are doing 50-50, great. You're one of the rare ones. I often see men commenting things like, well, not me. Well, then if it's not you, then why, then you don't need to defend yourself. Because you probably, if you happen to be living that way with your wife, you probably know somebody who's not. You probably know one or two men who don't live that way. And if you truly, truly live that way in our misogynistic, patriarchal society, your male friends probably make fun of you. They probably call you pussy whipped. They probably call you a cuck. They probably make fun of you in all kinds of ways. Because if you truly, truly show up as an equal partner, the misogynistic society around you is going to make fun of you. That's part of how they keep, men also get harmed by this, by the way. A lot of men out here are not really benefiting. Like maybe you're benefiting in the sense that you've got a maid at home, but a lot of these men are not happy. You're not happy because you're not even connected to who you truly are. So, and you're not living a genuine life. So, if you're a MAGA ass crack licker, you're a pedophile lover. It's like you love a rapist and a pedophile and an insurrectionist. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're sick. You are the scum of the earth. You are dangerous. You are the exact kind of man that I'm talking about. You are the harm in the world. You are the racist, misogynistic, xenophobic, homophobic danger. You are who gives men a bad name. You are the reason I'm even making a video like this. You are the reason that so many women are happier without a man in their life than trying to give you the time of day. Yeah, so there's no greater purpose for you than being a misogynistic. I have no doubt that your wife and children suffer, and that in your life, in their life, you're a burden. That's what I'm saying. Don't think that love relationships is some kind of gateway to joy. It's a gateway to an unpaid job. It's signing up for a lifetime of work from an unappreciative prick. And hey, if you focus your time and your energy on becoming the best you that you could be, and somehow on that journey you meet an incredible guy who is truly an uplifting, supportive guy, because I know that there are men like that out there. And that's basically what I'm doing. Like, I'm focused 100% on me, what I need in my life for me and my children. And I have no doubt that if there's a man out there that I'm truly compatible with, the kind of guy that would be the kind of guy that I would give the time of day, then, I'll meet him. I would meet him, and just, obviously it would take time to get to know a man and find out if he really is truly like a good guy who again, like I said, when I started, when I got back together with my ex, he seemed like a modern guy who respects women and thinks in equality and stuff. But then there's a lot of these unseen beliefs underlying in how people have, like, expectations that people have. Sometimes, when a guy is dating you, he's like, well, she's my girlfriend. And so he has like this one set of rules in his mind that he thinks is fine. And then he has this other set of like unspoken rules and expectations that he thinks like his wife is supposed to, adhere to. And then you end up, oh my, you're playing footsies with your son? What a creep. And then you end up then you get married to the guy, and like overnight he suddenly has like all of these expectations of you because you're his wife now. And that happens, unfortunately. That's happened to a lot of women, that you're married and you're legally tied to this guy, and you're finding out all of these patriarchal, very deeply disturbing beliefs and expectations that he has, that he got unlocked when he became your husband. And now you're never really trapped, because you can always leave, but it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. And it doesn't mean that, for some women it's not financially easy. Maybe you have kids. There's so many reasons why women stay in these really unhealthy relationships, toxic relationships. And my advice, if you're one of those women, if you're a woman that's in a really toxic, unhealthy relationship and you're finding it really hard to leave, just start doing everything you can to empower yourself. Research about this, maybe improve your skills so that you can get a better job, or get a promotion, or move careers so that you'll be more financially independent. Try to build your support system with your friends and your family that you can trust, that you care about, who love you. Confide in somebody, get therapy, try to get professional help. There's so many resources out there for women who are, sort of trapped in these really unhealthy relationships. And the sad reality is that when you're with a toxic and abusive partner, and you're having the audacity to actually believe that you deserve more, and that you're not put on earth to be their vessel and their slave, and to slave away and cook and clean and do all this stuff for them like they think that they're entitled to. When you have the fucking gall to want to be independent and to not give him access to you, that is the most dangerous time. That is when your life is at risk. And look at how many men are openly willing to share that they're an abuser, that they're verbally abusive, they're emotionally abusive, that they're willing to be physically abusive, that they think that they can dominate you, that they feel entitled to you. And if they don't have access to you, then they think they can shit on you. It's like a guy who catcalls you, and when you don't respond, or you say no, and then he starts to insult you. That's what a lot of these people are expressing and showing themselves. Sometimes you got to put a woman in line, because you're an abuser. You're a narcissistic abuser. So you are just revealing that you are a danger. You're a danger to women, and you're a danger to society. And you're a perfect example of the kind of person that I'm talking about. A lot of these men, they walk around looking like a normie. They seem like an average guy, and believe me, they are average, if not way below. They think mediocrity is enough, especially if it's a white man, especially if it's a white American man. White American men are the worst. there are some good men out there, but it's a goddamn fucking, it's a nightmare in the dungeons of hell, running through fields of rapists and just, it's sickening. And the good men who are not like that, they don't, you probably deserved it, Charlie. Good men don't speak up enough, and that makes them not that good. The good men who do speak up are so few and far between, and it's really sad. And for the lucky few of you who find them and partner up with them, that's awesome. Hopefully you can raise more healthy men. Joyful, healthy relationships bring more love in the world, and unfortunately, there's not enough of them. And if you take yourself off the market and you focus more on yourself and you develop yourself and your skills, you gain more self-esteem, you heal your traumas, you learn more about these ubiquitous patriarchal misogynistic views, then maybe you can start to, more easily find or recognize the few men who actually are the future. The future for men is learning to unlearn this patriarchal bullshit. The men who would stand up and say, I 100% support women in all the ways. You fight for their right to vote. You fight for their right to not have their votes taken away. You fight for their right to have the autonomy to decide what they do with their bodies. You fight for their right to be independent, to have the top jobs in the top offices, including the White House. You fight for your daughters to have the right to study whatever they want to study and to do whatever kind of job that they want to do, and you recognize their strength and their power in all the ways that most of these men out here deny. So racists, you can go fuck off. You can go continue sucking Trump's dick because you're a fucking pedophile and a pedophile lover. If you're so independent, why are you so worried about men? There you go. So a woman saying, I'm independent, I'm not dating, I'm not open to dating, I don't give men access to me, and I highly recommend it. And your narcissistic perspective is someone telling you that I'm not thinking about men in my life, and then you see what I'm saying? You're the victim. You still think that you feel that you have the right to have access to someone. And so when a woman is saying, hey girls, we don't need to worry about these guys out here, he's like, oh my God, why are you so worried about me? Pathetic. So, thank you. Can I still... Alan Victory, are you still flexible? Can you tuck your feet behind your ears? I did actually say that. So, normally I would think that was just a, like a creepy thing, but I did say that. No, I can't do that anymore. I need to get back to stretching. Cool lighting. Thank you, Venger6. So, are there any girls or women on here? Hopefully not girls, actually. Are there any women? Any single independent women who have anything to add before I jump off? So this is my third video in the series of, my recommendation is I don't recommend men. And, the chances of meeting a good man is so rare. It's like winning the lottery, you know. So, you know, I just don't play. Some people, they have faith in the lottery, and they every day or every week or whenever, you know, they go and they put their little money, although it's actually quite expensive these days. I did have a relationship with well, we were teenagers, but my first like real love was a girl. But that's when I realized, like, oh man, I would so be gay, but I guess I'm not. Like a little tiny bit bi, I guess, but you know, whatever. I tried it and I was in love with her, but I was like, oh, but actually I love you like a best friend. But you know, I don't know. LGBTQ people are the best. Misogynistic, homophobic people are the worst. Racist people are garbage. So, you know, I think that's it for this. And, you know, I don't know if I think of something else that I want to add to it. I guess I could do another video another day. But, you know, ultimately the message is focus on yourself. Take the time to develop yourself. I did just take a couple little rapey comments down. Give yourself permission to do the thing you really wanted to do. That if you were doing that, then you wouldn't be available to be like, to go out on a date or something. Or, you know, take yourself off of those dating apps and sign yourself up for a class, or go sign up for therapy, or let yourself work another hour or two so that you can earn more money, or, you know, focus on reading that book you wanted to read. Or, you know, there's so many things in life that we could do, but we don't do because we are so busy focused on, you know, the dream of this perfect romance, which is truly a fantasy. Now, do I believe that there's no happy couples out there? No, I do believe that there are, but I feel like truly, truly happy couples, the majority of those people, I think they figured out who they are. I mean, there's a lot of misogynistic women, and they also believe in the patriarchal idea. So, you know, are there some women who are living in a patriarchal, misogynistic marriage, and somehow they're happy because that's just what they like deeply believe in? I mean, yeah, you know, there's a lot of people who are oppressed in some way, and that's all they know. And so that they're, you know, they're just kind of brainwashed into it. And, you know, 80% of people are kind of wired to just go along to get along because, you know, we're social creatures. So what I am suggesting that, you know, women just kind of remove themselves from the dating pool. You know, it's not the usual dating coach advice, love life advice. But my advice is, if you have unresolved trauma, if you've been sexually abused or assaulted, if you're confused about what you want, if you have undeveloped areas of your life or yourself that you really should focus on, something you want to learn, a career that you want to start or develop further, friendships that you don't give enough time to, like, the list is so endless of things that you could be potentially doing instead of trying to make it work with a man, which is a fantasy for the majority of people. And so my whole point is, if you spend a year or 10 or 15 truly developing yourself and building a life that you love, that you're happy with, then, you know, maybe one day you'll meet somebody who really fits and enhances your life instead of trying to craft yourself around, you know, what some guy needs and like being his fucking maid and his slave and all that shit. So, anyway, I think I am all talked out, and that is that. Please don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you never miss the next video. And may you be single and not ready to mingle.